We need
Just
some
as
D.
we start. Just
We need
as
some
we
D.
start.
Oh, we're recording? Oh, shit. Here it is again,
It's like
talking about
5,
sex.
4, 3, 2, 1. Post that.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Let's keep this in.
As I'm eating salad. Somehow dick and salad don't go together. I don't know. Oh my god, it's so late. We're crazy.
I'm leaving it all in. This is gonna be our intro.
Oh my god. Might as well.
Hey, we have an amazing guest that came on the podcast, and we are so excited to share her incredible craziness, her journey with you guys. It is just her TikTok is amazing. If you haven't heard of her, it's Mama K. Yeah, she's got how many chickens? 15?
I don't know. She tried to name them all. She did a pretty good job. One of them was called 8 Ball, and I'm like, what?
Yeah, that threw us for a loop.
And she's like, my children don't think like we do. And I'm like, oh. Maybe that child might eventually.
Maybe. But she's doing a really incredible thing on TikTok where she is redoing TikToks duetting people who've done TikToks with great messages and using sign language to make it accessible to the deaf, hard of hearing. Well, my God, I cannot talk today.
I know. We say hearing impaired up here in Canada, but they deaf and impartial. Is that what it was? Or
I thought it was hard of hearing.
Hard of
deaf
hearing.
And hard of hearing.
Sorry, apologize
I don't know.
if I got that wrong. I don't know.
It's late. Well, it's not
late.
even that late. It's only 9:40. Oh my God.
I've been up since 5.
Yeah, I haven't been sleeping well. We have been really busy putting together this Just for 24 movement. And oh my gosh, are we blown away by the amazing support we're getting and the incredible people that are jumping on board. If you haven't yet, go to just424.com and submit a video. We'd love to have you as a part of this campaign. And we want to see you live on April 24th from 1 to 4:30 p.m. PST. On our Facebook page, we're going to be with some incredible speakers. We're going to have a couple panels.
A few panels, and it's kind of like going to be the ice bucket challenge for recovery, you know. And I'm excited about. I think everybody's got to be excited about it because we always talk about recovery and harm reduction and what's happening and overdoses, and let's talk about the joy of recovery and what people in recovery are doing and. What do you do for 24 hours in recovery? We want to know about it. We've got people jumping off cliffs. We've got people taking dance classes.
Into water.
Into water. That's right.
I've wanted to jump off a few cliffs since sobriety too, but this is the good kind.
we have a gal that's going to come out. That's coming on as a guest. She's going to be riding a motorcycle and playing with her grandchildren, but not at the same time. So.
Yes, this is going to be a beautiful, exciting day to have fun in sobriety. Even if you're not in recovery, just show up, be sober, go online and tell us how you're having fun sober and use the hashtag just424. All right, let's get this show started. It's a good one. Unlike this intro.
This intro is just the where it's at. We're just... a social experiment.
It's too late. I'm not redoing it. It's too late.
No, we're not redoing it. So, we shall not be perfect. And that's definitely not what we are. So.
Yes. But the episode is much better than this intro.
Just listen, subscribe, like, share our crazy banter. And I said it. Brooke's like, banter. Oh God, Suzanne, you were watching way too much Love Island. And I go, yes, I own that. Yes, I am. So that's my new word, and I'm taking it because I'm masking. And if you guys will understand what masking means in about 5 minutes as you listen to this podcast.
All right. I hope you enjoy.
You're listening to Seek Purpose, the podcast, where guests share how they have survived their pain, explored their passions, and found their purpose.
We are the platform that gives a voice to journeys of recovery and the opportunity to get inspired by those who have overcome their hurts, habits, and hang-ups.
You've found your pathway to recovery. Now it's time to find your pathway to purpose.
Subscribe to this show, join our online community, and become a purpose seeker today.
Hey everybody, my name is Brooke.
And my name is Suzanne.
And today we are hanging out with Lesley. You may know her as Mama K on TikTok.
Yes, she is a wife and a mama of four, an 8-year-old and 7-year-old triplets, like 1, 2, 3 triplets. She's also a recovery coach and recovering addict for 6 years.
And the host of the Recovery Scene, which is an amazing podcast and YouTube show. Suzanne had the pleasure on being on there a little while ago. Today we're talking about finding purpose and making it accessible. Lesley has been taking over TikTok with her hearing impaired friendly feed.
Yeah, she doesn't just recover out loud. No, no, no. She turns it up to about 11, maybe a 12, by creating accessible recovery content. So we're really excited to have you here, Lesley.
Yes.
I'm excited to be here and kind of nervous. So.
Yeah, we just learned that this is your first time sharing your story. So welcome to the Seek Purpose podcast Cherry Popping Club.
That's true.
I mean, I've shared it for the minute, in 2 parts on TikTok, but not in depth or,
Well, we can't wait to get into it. But first, we have been told to ask you about your chickens. So we're going to start there.
Yeah. Apparently, yeah, we want to know about the Golden Girls chickens.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah. We've always wanted chickens, and we finally moved to a place where we could have chicken babies, and they're pets. I love them, and I give them lovies, and I chase them around until I can catch them and cuddle them. And we have Sophia, Dorothy, Rose, and of course Stanley, because we thought Stanley was a rooster, but Stanley ended up being Stacy. But whatever. We had Blanche twice, but we have a dog named Bitzer, and he is a serial chicken killer because he's a hound. And what happened was our fence wasn't tall enough, so Blanche and Blanche 2.0 both got out, and that was that. So we forget it. Blanche is cursed, so we don't name them Blanche anymore. And then we just got 10 new little chicks, and they're so cute. I love them so much. Yes, I love my chickens.
Have you named them yet?
The kids did. And oh God. So we've got 8 Ball, like the magic 8 Ball. Just
Okay.
We're all clear. So we're all clear. Okay. Magic 8 Ball. 7-year-old brain, not our brains.
Okay. Future one of our brains, possibly.
Right. Let's see if I can do all these. 8 Ball, and I kid you not, Doopy, Officer Bob, Willow, Becca, Sloman, Sunny, Sunflower. I cannot remember the last 2. I don't know. But yeah, so we made the mistake of letting the kids name them. Then again, when I let my husband name one, he named it Margaret Scratcher.
Conversation at your dinner table. Well, what are we going to do, Mom? Are we going to have Willow for dinner tonight? Or are we going to...
They are egg layers only. They will die happy and old.
Okay. That was gonna be my next question, is how do you explain to your children when they all name and get all cuddly with their chickens that they're going to be for dinner one day?
Oh yeah, I do not.
So they're just egg layers. Okay, good.
I do not have that kind of farm mentality. I just can't do it.
Okay.
We had to get rid of our rooster for obvious reasons. We thought Julie ended up being Julian. Stanley ended up being Stacy. It was a debacle. And we rehomed him. I could not eat him for dinner.
Well, speaking of your children, I'd love to start by just asking you if triplets, 7-year-old triplets and an 8-year-old. Oh my gosh, that must be insane. How did you end up having triplets? Is it in your family? Was it? No?
Nowhere. We wanted 2 close in age. So we had Elora, who was our oldest. And I don't know if anybody's seen the movie Willow. I'm kind of old. So it's Rob Reiner's first film. And I named her after both of my parents. So because I always told my dad, I'm going to name my little girl Elora when I grow up. So she's Elora Elizabeth from Mom and Dad. Anyway, and I wanted them to, kind of grow up together. I was an only child. As a matter of fact, I still am. And I wanted them to be excited. I was excited for Christmas by myself, like with the dog or whatever. And I wanted them to have somebody. Well, I didn't know there was some kind of buy one, get 2 going on. And we ended up having 3 for, 2 for the price of 1, I guess.
Wow.
Careful
Oh
what you
my-
pray for. Oh my goodness.
I blame my mother because I didn't get married till 35. I didn't have, or 33. I didn't have Elora till I was 35. She thought she was never having grandchildren. I'm just praying and praying and praying. Could you pray less?
Let's just scale back the praying a little bit.
Yeah.
So
Jesus heard you, okay? Sorry.
Can we send your mom a list? There's a couple of things we wanted to pray for.
Right? She's got the bat phone, apparently.
Oh my gosh, this is already a blast. We'd love to get into your story. So can you tell us a little bit about your journey through addiction and your 6 years sober? Is that correct?
Yeah.
Wow.
6 years. And it's funny because people ask me, what's your clean date? I'm like, well, it changes. What? My first day clean was on the Super Bowl Sunday. So my clean date, it's 2015, February 2015, but it's Super Bowl Sunday. So wherever, yeah.
You sobered up. Were you drinking that day, or that was the first day you actually didn't drink?
That was the first day. That was the most miserable Super Bowl Sunday of my life. Yeah.
Okay, well, you come to the right spot, because that's what we do here. We really want to share about the broken in the beginning. So this is your painful, what happened Saturday, obviously being so painful and so broken, that made you not want to drink take us there.
I had gotten into this horrible screaming match with my mother. She and I are I never said I'll never be like my mother. I'm exactly like my mother, exactly. And that's the problem, because we get along and we agree all the time, and then we butt heads all the time. And we're both very stubborn women, and it was bad. It was bad. It ended with her tearing out of, because we were supposed to bring like the food the night before, and it ended up with chicken wings all over the parking lot. Her tearing out of she just like left me there, and me telling her that she's never going to see her grandkids, and just all this horrible stuff. I put my parents through hell for a long time. It was pretty rotten. And so it was just let me back you up to the Sunday before.
Okay.
That's important. I actually showed up. I had horrible postpartum depression, and it lasted. I mean, I still have it. It's just medicated. Sometimes it does not go away. And I had showed up to church drunk. Drunk. Like, if you're going to show up somewhere, could it not be church? But luckily, our church is our age group. A lot of it is, and the pastor is like a mentor and kind of a spiritual father to me, I guess you could say. And after I had shown up drunk, I came to Bible study. I knew I was busted. I knew I was in trouble, and my friends just surrounded me. And he came up to me, and he was like, this is it. This is over. This is ending. It's going to end. Like he said, I'm telling you, it's going to end now. And so I had a hard time that week. And then that Sunday came, and I showed up at the Super Bowl on Sunday after that huge debacle. I'm kind of trying to give you the super Cliff Notes version here. And my friends surrounded me again, and they said, no matter what. And to this day, I will get texts, I will get posts on my Facebook, just random stuff. And they just say, no matter what, my support system. And this is what I tell people: if you want to recover, whether you do a 12-step program, whether you're doing, harm reduction, whether you're doing rehab, whether you're doing whatever you're doing, you have to have a support system, because when you get tired of climbing that mountain and you start slipping back, you need the people under you that are going to do this and help you keep going, and that is something that I have been very, very blessed with, is I have a support system. And I like to joke that every year my church throws me a sober Super Bowl party. A recovery party, I mean, not Super Bowl for me.
That's really amazing that your church, because so many people live, well, through my walk with the church, I've met women that when they found out I was recovering and sober, they gravitated towards me kind of like in the private bathroom stall, like, hey, hi, did you say you didn't drink? And, it was always so shameful to come out with that. And to hear that you have this story in this community in your church that really embraced you around your recovery is pretty special. Take us a little bit more to that part of your story.
Okay, well, I will tell you, this is important. How you react 90% of the time, probably more like 95% of the time, is how people react back to you. And I always use this example. Let's say that you're young, you're in college, you're not married, and oh my God, you're pregnant, or for, guys, you knocked somebody up. And I'm just going to go with the girl role because it works for me. If you walk up to your friends and you say, oh my God, you guys, I'm pregnant, I don't know what I'm going to do. Your friends are all going to go, oh my God, it's going to be okay. We'll figure this out. Oh God. And they're all going to react like this is, some crisis. Now, there's always going to be that one bitchy friend that isn't going to, it's not going to work. But if you walk in and you're like, oh my God, you guys, guess what? I am so excited. So I'm going to have a baby. Most of them, because they don't want to hurt your feelings or, out of propriety, they're just going to be like, oh, yay, okay. So we're happy. You're happy? Okay, we're happy, So what I do is, if I'm giving an example of something and it never fails, I'll be talking and I'll be like, well, in recovery, because that's what I got, right? And somebody will go, you're in recovery? And I'm like, yeah, 6 years. And I always get the high five. Always. So how you present yourself is normally how people will react. You'll always get that one person, but forget that one person.
Yeah, you know what? This actually been a topic that's been on my mind lately because I've gotten some pushback, like recovering out loud and saying I'm an alcoholic or an addict, and then people saying like, oh, well, you shouldn't call yourself that. I don't like. You shouldn't talk negatively about yourself. And I'm like, I don't even consider it a negative thing. I really find it so empowering. It was like, finally, I figured out what was wrong and there's a solution to what was wrong for me. So I'm very empowered by the fact that I'm in recovery, that I'm an alcoholic. And it just feels like, okay, like being an alcoholic, I'm allergic to alcohol. So if I drink, I have a bad reaction to it. So I consider myself an alcoholic. But yeah, there is such a stigma still. And I think it's really important that for me to own that I'm an alcoholic, because I'd rather end the stigma and be proud of it and be joyful about it. And yeah, high five people. Say, yeah, I'm an alcoholic. Woo!
Exactly. Up high. Yeah. Because if I hadn't gone through all this, I wouldn't be a recovery coach. I wouldn't have the podcast. I wouldn't be helping people, recover and trying to live their best life and all this stuff. None of this would even be, I would be on here right now. None of this would be happening. So it's like, you're a recovering alcoholic and addict. That's your flex. You know it, like, sure is.
Oh my
God.
God.
The meeting is that way.
Oh, I love that. The meaning is that. Oh, I love it. Okay.
Part of your story is that you got diagnosed very late in life with autism. I would love to know more about that journey.
Yeah, I'm going to try and cliff notes it. I gotta take you back to 3rd grade because that's really, when you're a kid, like little ones, 18-month-olds and 2-year-olds and 3-year-olds playing together. They don't care if so-and-so is autistic. I'm going to either take your toy, hand you your this toy, or bite you. I mean, I don't care, right? Well, later, it was when I was going from, 2nd grade to 3rd grade. And boom, sometime before I turned 9 or when I turned 9, this horrifying anxiety took over. I mean, there's anybody who's gone through anxiety will be like, because if you've never gone through it, It drives me nuts when people say, oh, depression is obsessing about the past and anxiety is worrying about the future. It's like, no, anxiety like punches me in the face when I'm, making mac and cheese and I'm not thinking about anything. So I would throw up every single night before school. Every night I would throw up, and then I'd cry and cry and cry, and then I'd throw up in the morning. It got to the point where when I got to school, my wonderful teacher, Mr. Cofton, who has since passed, but he had the garbage can at my desk. So I didn't have to go up to the front of the class, or I would do this and he'd be like, well, we were just talking about, we were not as woke. So when I tell this story, I don't want people to be like, oh my God, your mother did this. This was 1980.
What was that? Back then?
1985. I was 9. And so my mom, first of all, she's tough, right? I mean, she's tough. She's Scottish. She's this big, but she's huge, right? And the doctors who are supposed to know said she has a phobia of school, make her go. Now they'd be like, oh, maybe she should, homeschool or do online. There was no online, So I remember sitting in the car, just a wreck. I don't want to go. I don't want to go. I don't want to go. And my mom was like, go get in the school. You're going. And so I'm my way in, having this horrific anxiety attack. Now, there is a big silver lining to this, and this is important. Look, Mama K just got all Mama K. There is something to be said about forcing yourself to do it anyway, to do it through the anxiety, to do it through the fear, because this is what that crappy doctor and my mom, who again thought she was doing exactly what she was supposed to do, but this wonderful thing came out of it, where as a child at 9 years old, I learned that there is okay on the other side of that anxiety wall. And as the day went on, I would calm down and I would go out and play and I would be doing my homework, and it was like it never happened. I would do it all over again. And now don't misunderstand, I had to go through this for like almost the entire year, but fourth grade was no problem. And to this day, I will freak out, say about, being the person on the spectrum who got diagnosed at 43, coming on a podcast for the very first time, telling my story. But I'll do it anyway. I will do it anyway. I learned very young how to not let anxiety beat me. And that, I think more than making me go to school, that was a fantastic thing that my mom did for me. So it started then. All that to say, so it started at 9. And I never, and this is, I don't know if you ladies have noticed this, but a big theme with addicts, I never fit in. I was never comfortable in my own skin. I said weird things, me a little more than most. And but I've always been very fortunate when it comes to the friends world. I can make friends with the wall. I can make friends, in the grocery store, because I'll talk to anybody, because I don't really understand that you're not supposed to talk to me. And so I did have friends. I was not lonely. I was not bullied. I was very fortunate. I had a very, very good, stable home in, middle class 1980s America. And but it didn't matter. It didn't matter. And it ate me alive that I couldn't fit in. Ate me alive. And then in college, I found this magic stuff called booze. And when I drank alcohol and everybody around me was drinking alcohol, I liked them and they liked me, and it didn't matter. I could have 2 heads and it was like, sweet, let's do shots. One for me, 2 for you, obviously, because 2 heads. But yeah, it was like this magic elixir, and then now alcohol was always the underlying, alcohol, definitely the drug choice, it was always the underlying thing. But my other things that I would do. People will say, well, what was your, aside from alcohol, what was your drug of choice? My drug of choice was, what do you got? I would do anything if it made me feel like I fit in, like we were all having fun, like I was one of the crowd. Because for some reason, that was so painful for me. And then actually what happened was I met a friend who is also on the autism spectrum, and she's like 10 years younger than me. And I do this. It's just a thing. I've done it since I was a little kid. But this finger would be in my mouth and I'd be doing this and I would do it. But I do it all the time. And she's like, why are you stimming? I'm like, what are you talking about? What's stimming? And then she explained to me masking. Well, the reason I got along so good with my friends is I was exactly like them. I didn't know how to act socially. So I did what you did. Or I do what you do. And that's masking. I would copy. These people are accepted. That's how you're supposed to act socially. That's how I need to act. And she explained all this stuff to me. And I'm sitting there 43 years old, like, oh my God, and just there's so much to go into because there's so much to autism. When people think autism, they think nonverbal, they think you can't make eye contact. They think, but being a sign language interpreter, I was trained to make eye contact. And I do interpret like this. And when I talk, even talking into the camera, I have to keep doing this. I have to keep looking away. It's just a thing. But I can sustain eye contact for longer periods of times. People are like, you can't be autistic. You can make eye contact. Right, because that's the only thing that makes autistic people autistic. Not all the other weirdness, that I have. So yeah, I decided to call a doctor, pay the bucks to get diagnosed. And because autism shows up as everything, I was diagnosed as bipolar, depression, anxiety, all this stuff. And it was like, no, we're nice little box autism. It's all in there, And that's how that came about. And it was so awesome. It was just like this absolute relief, because it's like I tell the people that I work with, we do not use our mental health diagnoses as excuses. We use them as ammo, as information. Okay, now I know what I'm working with. Now I know how to navigate this better. Now I got the wheel. It was awesome. It was a great experience.
Wow. I resonate so much with so much of your story. I have been diagnosed with a severe anxiety and panic disorder that was really prevalent in my 20s. And like there's times where I couldn't even leave the house. When this whole pandemic happened, I was feeling like I was going to puke pretty much every single day. And yeah, the one thing that really helped me as well was getting up and doing things anyway. Like I just have to keep going. It doesn't matter how I feel. I just have to get up and do the next right thing. And recovery has been a huge help, aid, whatever, tool for my anxiety, because all the things they teach us, like stay present in the moment, one day at a time, all that stuff is so important to keeping my mental health in check. And yeah, wow. Thank you so much for sharing that story.
You're welcome. And there are times where I will think, especially lying in bed, because that's when, okay, the medications are starting to wear off. And, just for those who weren't pre-show, I am impervious to the feels because of medication. But I will think about my children growing up, or I will randomly, my postpartum depression wasn't me going to hurt the kids. I was so afraid someone was going to hurt the kids. And I will lay in bed and something will start. And this is taking a lot of practice, but I'll go, don't think. In my head, I'll think, don't think. And I'll focus on my breath. And if I do it again, don't think. Yeah, it's hard. It takes practice, but your brain works for you, not the other way around.
Yeah, Suzanne,
I stump them.
Sorry, I'm like listening, going, oh my gosh, like I'm in, 85, I was practically graduating. I graduated in 86. So I'm thinking back in high school, and I've come out actually through the podcast saying that I have dyslexia for sure. I mix up things. I have a real difficult time keeping on track. But then you're like talking and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm doing things with my hands. And, like I always sit there and say back when I first sobered up, my doctor used to say that I was a walking, talking Prozac commercial, I mean,
Or
and I never did take, I did try at one point medication, but I think that's what's been so powerful for my own recovery journey is that, and so many people that come in with different ailments along with addiction and alcoholism, that a program of recovery is so successful with our kind of crazy makeups with different ailments, like, from obviously what you're talking about, and how it approaches our mental well-being has been
right,
really, really amazing. It's like it's magic that happens when we get together and we support and we find out that, we are not alone.
right.
we, there is some solutions on how to live with our ailments of whatever those are. So
Mm.
it's exciting. So you had obviously a broken moment, a painful moment that happened a week before. For many years, I'm guessing.
Oh,
Did
Yeah, your sobriety date's 6 years ago, and you have a 7 and 8-year-old. So your kids
mhm.
were like 1 and 2 when you sobered up.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes. That I am very grateful that that they were so little,
Hmm.
because they don't remember, I will tell you the hardest thing, another moment. I had multiple moments that made me go, okay, this is stupid, is Elora, right before I sobered up, was 2. And I think this was that day, and I'm laying in bed like so sick, before we're going to the Super Bowl party, and I can't get out of bed, and because I was a drinker. I would drink, go to bed, feel like crap in the morning, and drink immediately, to not feel like crap anymore. And I'm laying in bed crying, listening to, Mama, I love you, Mama. I love you. You come? You come out? And I'm just like sobbing, like my little girl is outside. And, and this, I had also started smoking crack. And my sponsor at the time said to me, and thank God I have imagination issues because I have a fabulous imagination, which is great and horrible at the same time. And he said to me, and I was mixing it with alcohol, and he said to me, if you're in the bathroom and you take a bad hit and you die, who's the first person up in your house? Well, it's Laura. She's 2. Who's going to find you? And he's like, and I want you to picture her. And of course, me being me, I could picture her, Mama, Mama, laughing, thinking I'm joking, and then not understanding why Mama won't, you get up, Mama, and not understanding, and that was like, that was another one of the moments. So there was the thing that happened with the thing that happened with my mom, my pastor and my friends, Elora, and my sponsor, when he said that. And those 4 things together, because sometimes it's not addition, sometimes it's algebra, and it takes a few things to get us to that holy crap moment. And I gave my keys to Ian. I said, you lock up the money, you change the password, you change the code on the debit card, you change the password on the alarm so I can't sneak out, and I get access to nothing. And that was it. I was done. And then really, really sick.
Yeah.
So,
But you had a sponsor at that point. So were you trying to get sober before that?
oh yeah. I tell when if anybody's going through recovery and they're like, forget it, I relapsed, I suck, I hate myself, I'm just quitting. It took me 10 years to get one clean. So but I am going to drop a little bit of a bomb here. I would relapse and relapse and relapse and relapse. I was a chronic relapser. Kids, there is no such thing as a chronic relapser. You haven't quit yet. You haven't really quit. When I quit, when I threw those keys and I was done. They say in 12-step programs, which I love this, they say you have to chase that recovery the way you chase that drug. And it's absolutely true. You're all in or you're not in at all. There is no such thing as a chronic relapser. You haven't quit.
Amen. you're not gonna get me not to believe, on that one. And it is controversial, keep coming back, and it's true. It's when you're done, you're done. And anybody that has long-term sobriety will tell you that, I
Mhm.
just wasn't ready. And, I think that helps actually also to kind of embrace the person that does come and is trying. It's
Yeah.
just loving on them, because you never know the purpose of why a person comes in now and later. And I actually have a sponsee of mine that definitely could almost be my mother. and actually, she's not that old. What the hell? She's not that much older than me. But anyways, I I have been so blown away by this relationship, and I think how many years it took her to come in, and she came in her 50s, and I'm just sitting there thinking there's always a reason. You never know when
Right.
the when is supposed to be, because it is a world way bigger than us.
Yeah.
In our addictions, that's all we're thinking about is, me, 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 me. And we have
Mhm.
an inability of looking around at other people and, what we're doing and saying and how that affects others. But really, if you
Exactly. And if you fall down, get right back up. Fall down again.
yeah,
Get back up. If you are going through relapse after relapse, okay, but get back up, get back in, because the
Mhm.
longer you stay out, the harder it is. So that is one thing, the one thing that I can go, well done, Lesley. Always right back in, right back in. I never let the embarrassment or the shame, because we are talking life and death. Gives a crap about embarrassment and shame. Like,
Yeah.
I want you to live. Just
Mhm.
come back.
I know I love the stories that they're like, oh yeah, and telling the drunk logs, oh yeah, da 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 da, and I did this, and I did that, and I danced naked and swung a pole, and then it's just like, oh, I don't want to go to that meeting, he might see me, or oh, I don't want to do that. It's like, did you not just tell me a story that you're swinging around a pole last weekend? Like, what the fuck?
Right? Right?
Like,
Are you the one that pawned your brand new car for $500? I mean, what are we talking about here? Yeah.
I was one of those people that were just like, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. And I remember somebody telling me that at a meeting one time, and I was like so offended, like, oh, how dare you say that? But it's true. It's like I actually left thinking, oh my God, the things I did in my drinking that I would never care about, but yet doing something sober just seems so shameful and like, oh,
I know. I know.
people are going to think something terrible of me. It's like,
Yeah.
see what the whole world did. Anyways, yeah, thanks for bringing that up.
I really think of it kind of like a diet. Like it's a whole lifestyle change that has to happen. It's not just like you quit doing drugs and alcohol and all of a sudden everything's amazing. I wish it was like that. I really thought it was like that. I was really upset to find out I wasn't a perfect human after I got sober.
Right.
But yeah,
Sorry,
it's
to
like,
say to
Why
yeah.
is that?
oh,
It's like everybody else knows what's going on, but we're always the last. That's the worst thing I think that happens with for myself. I'm sure you guys, all three, or you ladies, will be able to relate. It's like, I don't know. It's like everybody else knows around you, and you think that they don't know.
Right. We think we are so slick.
Oh, we
So
do.
yeah.
slick.
It's like we're the last ones at the party. We're there, right? Like we're the last ones to actually, be invited to the party.
Always closing it out. I thought I was like so awesome. And half the time I was just making a fool out of myself. Now, when everybody was doing it, but see, they all grew out of it. And I didn't. See, I always tell the younger people, like, I am so envious of you. I think you are awesome. I wish I would have gotten sober in my 20s. And that'd been so awesome. Or, imagine being sober at 20 years old, and because a lot of it just holds you back from the person that you could be. But it's never too late to become the person you should have been.
Mm.
Never.
Yeah,
Never.
no, take it. Yeah, definitely. I mean, I sober up in my 20s, and don't get me wrong, amazing, but man, it has been like a toxic mess. I was growing up sober, and it was very tough. Like I did it all wrong, nothing right. Crazy, crazy, crazy.
Yeah.
But I mean, at least I did it sober. I
Right.
had no
I told this.
excuses. It pissed me off because I have no excuses. I could, like, oh, like these people drinking had excuses. I had nothing. You're sober. You did that
Right. Oh
sober.
my God, I'm just like this.
Yeah.
Oh,
And people think it's going to be so boring. It's going to be so boring. my life is so much more now. It might have been surface exciting, but now it's like this rounded out full. I know what they mean when they say live a full life. That's what I'm living. I'm living a full life. And it's better than any drink. It's better than any high, because it is a high. It's a high in itself.
Mm-hmm.
When I like this podcast, it's giving me, you know, the shot of dopamine that I'm like, yeah, you know, this is a high. You know, these are kind of the highs that I want. You know, how many of us used to laugh at people? I'm high on life, man. We used to make fun of that. Now I'm like, I'm high on life.
Those shirts. With those shirts, there was a shirt that went around high on life. Oh my
Yeah.
God. Yeah.
Yeah.
All
So
right.
with your story of you know, making it into recovery and kind of finally making it into recovery and planting your feet here, uh what happened in regards to your unveiling of self, and you're kind of moving into your light, moving into your passions? Like, when did that start happening, that once you kind of, the fog of getting sober kind of disappeared, and you know, all of a sudden you walk by and you look at yourself in the mirror, I was like, ooh. when,
Right.
when
Right.
did that
Because,
moment
you know, well, we have this notion that we're going to stop using, or we're going to stop drinking, and boom. And there was no boom. I'm bored. I feel like crap. This sucks, you know. And it probably took, for me, maybe a year, a real year, you know, because you can't, I shouldn't say you can't. Most people need to be selfish in their recovery at the beginning, because it's like dominoes. You have your recovery and everything looks good. You don't have your recovery and everything falls with it, you know? And so you've got to be that first year is you're building that foundation to build everything else on. So once I had that foundation, I would say about a year in, now I can start doing other things and branching out. And it wasn't until probably 5 years in. Now everything was good after that first year. Everything's going well. But to say that I really started to come out and find who I am, but you have to remember, it was a little bit harder for me because there was no Lesley to begin with. I masked. I didn't know how to act socially, so I copied you. I didn't know how to talk, so I copied you. Even with sign language, I will put out there that I'm mostly retired from interpreting now. I was a very good interpreter. And it's because I had deaf friends. And I was like, all right, I'm a sign like you, you know? So when it came to who am I? Oh, hell, if I know. Like, I don't know, you know, but I found me. And if my mother is watching this, she's just going to start laughing because, oh my God, yeah, my mother came out. I am, you know, I have her personality. I have her strength, you know, but I also have my father's gentleness. And so recovery was also twice as cool, because I didn't just start living. At 43 years old, I found out who I was, how I act, what I say, you know, and that was so cool. That was so cool. More than almost anything, because the relationship with my children and my husband, that man, how the hell is he still here? I mean, come on. We have footage of me. Thank you, God. He was nice enough to erase it, because we had cameras crawling out the bedroom window at like 1 o'clock. I think I punched him in the nose once. I broke his glasses. I acted like a total fool half the time. And you know what he told me? Because I was like, why are you still here? I don't understand. Why are you still here? Because I could see the person that you were meant to be. And he stuck right by my side. I have been really blessed that way. But yeah, finding me was one of the greatest things, you know, finding the things that my parents had instilled in me, and just slowly starting to come out, because I never even bothered to look. Yes. You know, I've been copying people for so long because I wanted to fit in so bad. I didn't even bother to stop and go, wait a minute. who am I? You know?
Oh, so good. I relate to so much of your journey. I can't even, like, I know you don't cry, but I've almost been on the verge of tears this whole time. I want to talk about how you're finding purpose now that you're clean and sober. You have blown up on TikTok. You're spreading the greatest message. You're just so loving and caring and fun and exciting. And you have your recovery show. You're also a recovery coach. Can you tell us about that journey and how that all started and how you're finding purpose?
Yeah, I thought a lot of us think to ourselves, okay, I'm going to share my story. And if that helps somebody, awesome. And I thought, well, why don't I give people a platform and they can share their story and maybe they'll help multiple people, And I can't say that because it was actually my husband's idea. Because I was like, I want to do something, I want to do something. I can't figure out what to do. And he's like the processing guy. It's so funny because you were talking about crying and how, your husband he doesn't seem like, he is so stoic. He has resting cop face. People have walked up to him and asked him if he's a cop. It's so funny. He's just but Ian's a bit of a crier. So he's the guy that was like, how can she help people? And he said, why don't you do a podcast? Because somebody said you should have a YouTube channel. And I was like, okay, and so I wanted to give people a voice, a platform where they could tell their story. And it's a win-win because it lets them, every time we expose that darkness to the light, it gets a little easier to handle and it's a little less sick and it's a little less shameful and so it makes us feel so much better. But then on YouTube, I always click not for kids. Well, if I'm a teenager looking at YouTube and it says not for kids, I am totally going to watch that, right? So I'm hoping that some kid who shouldn't be watching it is watching it and goes, oh, hell no, I'm never going to be like that. And I hope it sticks, or somebody who's struggling goes, that dude died twice and he's recovered. I can recover. I got this. I got a DUI. He died. I can do this. So it's like, and we've got housewives and people who grew up in, Leave It to Beaver. Sorry, younger generation. What is it? Good Luck Charlie. Households. People that came from broken homes. People whose parents were addicted. I mean, it's everything. And it's going to resonate with somebody, but I wanted to do more because
More? No way.
More.
Really?
And that's where the recovery coaching part came in because people can get sober, people can get clean, but a lot of times you'll see posts like this still sucks. I hate it. I was better using, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Well, being a recovery coach, I want to take you from just, my thing is get out of neutral. You stop speeding forward at 300 miles an hour. You're not, in danger of death anymore. But now you're just in neutral. You're just kind of hanging out here. And I want to take you and I want you to have goals. And I want you to have things to look forward to. And I'm going to find out what your dreams are. Okay, sweet. Let's make those happen. And so I wanted to do more. So those are the two things and of course, I'm still with the Addictions Academy doing more classes and more classes and more. I'm going to go be certified harm reductions coach and food addictions, and because addiction is addiction.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I want to help. To summarize, I want to help. You never just get a yes, no out of me. I just can't.
That's perfect. We're not looking for yes, no's.
It could be worse. It could be like, which happens. It happens.
So what is, take us through a session of recovery coaching. If someone were to come to you and ask for help, they want to get out of neutral, what's some of the things that you can do with someone through recovery coaching?
A lot of the times it's like, I just got out of rehab. And in rehab, you make a plan. But it's it's not that it's bad or anything. It's just, you kind of surface plan. How are you going to stay clean? Are you going to go to meetings, et cetera, et cetera. And yes, You know, we talk about, okay, are you doing meetings? Are you doing this? Are you doing that? But a life without goals, a life with nothing to look forward to, with no upward mobility, that sucks. You know, I don't want to sit and wonder what I could have been for, you know, like, great, I got sober. Everybody said it was going to be so awesome. It is so awesome. If you do work, it's all work. Getting sober is work. Living your best life is work. You know, anything you want to do is work. If your life is easy, you're doing it wrong. Okay. So if you're just cruising through life, you're doing it wrong. So we're going to talk about, okay, what are your dreams? What do you want to do? Okay, let's see how we can get you there, or at least to something. Because if you're like, I want to be an astronaut. Oh, okay. Let's talk about, okay, what is it about being an astronaut that you really like? How can we get you to a place where, you know, and like, okay, now I work at the museum and I work in the planets. You know what I mean? I give the tours with the kids and I tell them about the planets and stuff like that. And so we have goals, and we, oh, I'm lonely and I'm bored. Okay, you're lonely and you're bored. Let's get unlonely and bored. What are things that you can do to meet people? Because you've got to put yourself out there. I don't want to meet people. Okay, let me get this straight. You're lonely, you're bored, but you don't want to go anywhere or meet people. Enjoy being lonely and bored. You know, like, there's got to be. So I'm kind of the, it's like I tell some of my clients, I'm like, hate me now, love me later. It is my job to kind of to make you uncomfortable and to make you do things. Because when you do uncomfortable things, the next time you do it, it's not uncomfortable. And now you've just widened your comfort zone. You do something else. I don't want to do it anyway. You've just widened your comfort zone. And eventually your comfort zone is so big, it's like, you can't scare me, you know, but do it anyway. That's my way of recovery. All recovery coaches are all, you know, they run the gamut, but I'm a little bit more, I am a loving persona, but I am the Mama K persona. Like I said, you're lonely and bored. You want to go out, you know, but you don't want to go out or meet anybody. Well, I guess you're going to enjoy being lonely and bored. Go to your room. You know,
Go to your room.
that's just, you know, I am going to tell you exactly what you need to do. You have to do it, you know. So that's just my approach.
And what about you? What are your big goals? What if you had no obstacle in your way and you could absolutely do anything? I know you've got a big imagination, so what would that be? What would be like, oh my gosh, this is it. This is the rest of my life. I don't need anything else.
I would very much like to, okay, well, first of all, I want to be like the most sought after recovery coach in the Southeast. That's, you know, that's what I want. I would write a book, and I'm telling you, it would be called Drugs Are Fun and Other Things I Was Wrong About. Exactly what it would be called. And I would take we would spend a week every single year at Disney, but it would be like, this year we're going to the Magic Kingdom for a week. Next year it's the, you know, Epcot for a week. Next year it's the, you know, and we would just keep going, and we would just rotate, because it's the happiest place on earth and I love it so much. It's probably like the weird little autistic kid in me, but I'm just like, so.
Oh man, I've been to Disneyland so many times, and my kids last year, no, it was in 2019, before the pandemic, we went to Disneyland, and my kids are like, no, don't take me there again, Mom. I'm like, what? We're going again.
What's wrong with you? Right?
I've never even been.
The kids are like, I'm like, Mickey! It's awesome. I've been exactly twice. And I remember we had this trip planned, and I was 7 months pregnant, 7.5 months pregnant with Elora. And the doctors were like, no, I'm sorry, you can't go. You should see the pictures of me in Disney. My feet were like this. I put them up, and my niece and nephew were like 10 and 11 at this point, I think, or 9 and 10. They thought it was the greatest thing, because I was like, guys, let's get me a wheelchair. Yeah. And I have matured now, by the way. Anybody in the disability community, apologize.
Actually, shame on Disneyland when we went there last time. It is not a pleasant place for people with disabilities.
It's not. Trying to get through there in the wheelchair. Oh my God. But I couldn't. I mean, I legit couldn't walk that far. you know. We maybe should not have taken advantage of the first in line thing. That's what I was getting at. Like, I'm very sorry. Maybe I should not have done that. But they were 7 and 8 and they were like, Lesley, you can get in the front. I'm like, what? Because I didn't know, but there was a big sign that said wheelchairs and their families go to the front. They thought it was like Christmas. They got to go to the front of every single ride, whether I went on it or not. Because Ian would just like wheel me out the side door. Like, we just did it until I could get on. He was like, so I apologize. We blame the kids.
I have never even been to Disney, so like when this pandemic thing is all over, we need to just have the biggest recovery Disney trip in the world happen, because it sounds like so much fun. I'm so jealous. I was watching all your videos, Suzanne, when you guys were out there, and I was like, damn it, like, just once in my life, I want to go see Disneyland.
Yeah, and my kids haven't gone. They're 7 and 8, and they have not gone, and I'm just like, oh my God.
You gotta learn to get into that inner child and never let her die.
Oh yeah.
That's what I learned way back in the day with, for those of you who are like quit lit people, go back and read the old school John Bradshaw, who really talks about unleashing your inner child and, grasping onto to your little person and allowing them to play. And I think that sounds like what you've been doing definitely on your recovery journey and finding yourself and embracing her. And just hearing how you're grasping onto your purpose and teaching other people, to kind of, cultivate themselves into the recovery program in their lives and be able to, grasp onto those really cool things. So many people sit there and go, they have that feeling like, is this it?
Right.
Like, I'm sober now. Like, is this?
Where's the magic?
Yeah.
Like,
and that's kind of, really, really great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's so many things that happens through the 12-step program I learned so many things about myself and like how to be a human and how to act with other people. But what I didn't learn is like how to pay my bills on time and how to like plan my meals and how to, keep my house clean. And like, those are things that I'm still working on today to kind of get the hang of. And I think the beauty with coaching is like that accountability is there, because I feel like for me personally as a recovering addict, my default setting is like comfort and convenience. I don't want to push myself if I don't have to, but if outside accountability really works for me. And so, if I have a program to work and I have a sponsor, I have a community that's supporting me, then I'm way more likely to be successful.
Right. I was in a 12-step program and, I moved on from there, but they laid that foundation. My recovery just evolved differently, but they laid that foundation. Absolutely. And the sponsor, that I had was amazing, was absolutely amazing. And, it's funny because a clean house is so much better for me mentally. I have 4 children, 2 cats, 2 dogs, a fish, and 15 chickens. I work part-time. I do a podcast. The house is, okay. But it's kind of, it's hard to balance it because I know having a clean house is so much better for me, for the kids, for everybody. And we'll work on it, because nobody, I grew up watching my mom and my dad do it and do it well, but I didn't pay attention. I was too busy doing other, kid stuff, or, I was too cool, or.
Well, your mom had 1 kid though, too. So as soon as you start multiplying your children, things get a lot less manageable.
Right. I wanted 2 close in age. So whenever she complained, like, she's like, oh my, this house is disgusting. It's a mess. It's this, it's that. And I'm like, who prayed for the kids?
Who prayed for the kids? Oh my gosh, that's a bad.
My mom's too tough though. She always comes back with something. I remember I was a teenager and I was trying to, get one up on her, and I'm like, and she said, well, if I were you, I would whatever. And I said, but I'm not you. And she looked right at me without missing a beat. She's like, no, you're not. I'm like,
damn.
Too fast. She's 80 years old and I still can't keep up with her. She's like 65.
Those are my
Seriously.
father. My
Oh,
dad is just like an Energizer bunny. It's like, dad, like, oh my goodness. Like he's up on the roof vacuuming his gutters. Who vacuums their gutters? It's like, dad, you're like 78 years old. You're not even supposed to be on a freaking ladder.
I know. My mom will go, I'm an old woman. I'm 80. I'm like, yeah, but you're not. But you're not, you know.
Yeah. Wow.
She's young and she's gorgeous. It's unbelievable. And I'm like, yes.
It's my dad. So it's all my dad.
The
Anyways, yeah, the genes, it is for sure. Of course. Anyways, the finding your purpose now and kind of getting on that path is exciting, and seeing what you're doing with Recovery Scene and on TikTok. And I love the sign language. I have a couple of my daughter's special need friends who are hearing impaired, and they follow me on TikTok, of course. And so I told them to, so they're, yeah, they just love it when you're signing and being able to have a message, because it is an important thing
It is.
that is for the hearing impaired. And I actually have a friend in my program too that is hearing impaired, and it's really important. She loves Zoom. Like she can't even believe how much her recovery is catapulted because she's able to actually read lips. And
Yeah,
in regular meetings, it's really difficult to do that depending on where she's sitting.
especially with
So
masks.
Yeah.
right, exactly. So
That made it so hard for so many of the deaf and hard of hearing
mhm.
population. And it's like, I didn't realize, did anybody else notice? Like, you felt like you couldn't hear as well because you couldn't see somebody's mouth. I didn't realize how much I relied on looking at the whole face,
Oh yeah.
not just the ears. And, you know, with recovery, there is somebody, a deaf friend of mine said something just so simple and so profound, because I asked her why there's a lot of addiction and drug use in the deaf and hard of hearing community, in certain parts of it. And I saw it, you know, and I asked her, I'm like, why is it so fun to get drunk or, you know, whatever? And she said, and keep in mind, this is her opinion. And she said, quiet is boring. I was like it was just so simple. You know, when you do a drug or you're drinking, your whole body is, you know, loud, quote unquote, you know, and I could absolutely understand. And so not everybody captions their videos, and definitely not everybody signs. There are deaf people, deaf and hard of hearing people out there that, and I don't know what it's like in Canada. In America, they don't like hearing impaired. They say deaf and hard of hearing. Throwing that out there. But they need that message as well. They need that message as well. So when somebody does a video and it's like, oh yeah, you know, like Dizzylicious Erin, you know, she said, I will sit with you for hours, listening to your problems for as long as you need, or I would rather sit with you for hours listening to your problems as long as you need than sit for 15 minutes listening to your eulogy. And I was like, oh, we're signing that one. You know, and then the funny ones that I'll sign, or, you know, but yeah, I try and caption everything, and I try and sign, you know, one or the other, sometimes all three, or all three. Yes, because I'm speaking. Don't forget the hearing people. They count. So
there's enough shit for us on the internet. You can forget.
Right. So yeah, I try and kind of bridge that gap, you know. So I know some people see it and some people go, oh, thank you so much. But a lot of them are very, very quiet about it. You know, it's because of stigma, and, you know, so.
Yeah. It is hard. I have, as you guys know, that my daughter's in special needs community, and there's somebody that is needing us desperately in recovery, and brought him. And, you know, he was, you know, one thing is he showed up every day. Like he couldn't, it was great. And we got him connected, but it was really hard for him to stay connected because of like the conversations, you know,
Yeah, there was an access
uncomfortable for people, and the access. Yeah. And, you know, keeping him, yeah, it's been really tough trying to reach out to that community and that demographic. But, yeah, so when you kind of come in, I noticed a few times, you know, you kind of see somebody that's indifferent, and it's just like people stay away and don't, or just, you know, loving
Right.
on them, hugging them. Well, you
Right.
can't.
And then how do you get an interpreter? Because, people don't realize, just FYI, for anybody in a 12-step program, interpreters are bound to confidentiality.
Mm.
So you are safe with, with an interpreter being in there, or you are supposed to be, and it was just lucky that I've interpreted conferences and I've interpreted meetings and stuff because I happened to be somebody in recovery who was also a sign language interpreter. What are the odds? So I did that because I knew this was early recovery, because I knew that just was not happening.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it is. It's a really important subject, because when we think of addicts and alcoholics, it's either, the guy in the trench coat sleeping under the bridge, or, whatever, or somebody like me or somebody like you. We don't think about the, disability community or the deaf and hard of hearing community. And they, they do everything we do.
Yeah.
They can get addicted too.
My daughter had a birthday party one time, and they're all, I take her to this birthday party, and they were all drinking, and I'm like a few of them were like drinking. And I'm just like, whoa, kids. I mean, they're all kids to me. They're all like, it was, yeah. I mean, they want to be like grown-ups. So they think grown-ups are supposed to go to these restaurants, and they don't understand. Nobody's educated them around, how to drink alcohol and handle themselves. And it was really, it's something both my husband and I have tried to interject with my daughter's community to try to help as best we can to help them, to know proper drinking. Not that I can tell them that, because holy shit.
How do you drink normally? I don't know. What are you asking? Really?
No, I think you already had one. Don't you think you maybe want to save your money? Or you want to go to Starbucks tomorrow? You're not going to have any more money left if you have another 5.
That's right. She loves Starbucks. That's right. You told me that.
And
Oh my gosh.
like, Starbucks tomorrow. Yeah, I want to have Starbucks tomorrow. Okay, well, why don't we
Okay,
just
good.
have one beer tonight? Okay.
Yeah. Like it's so funny because my kids are 7 and 8, and I tell them things on a 7 to 8-year-old level, but they will be so educated. They're gonna blow people away with their knowledge.
Yeah.
It's important to explain to them, this is what's quote unquote normal. This is not. So if you're experiencing this, because education isn't a foolproof thing, but at least they'll be able to know it and catch it if it's happening. They will know the signs. They will understand. It's not necessarily preventative, but it's still gonna help, because like I said, I wish I would have caught it way earlier.
Yeah.
Way earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it is 8 o'clock already. I can't believe that hour just flew by. I'd love for you to share with our audience how they can get in touch with you, where they can come find you, and just get to know your incredible personality and everything that you do.
Okay, so you want me to go through? Okay. I'm on everything, but I'll only do the basics. On TikTok, I am Mama, MAMAK, Mama K 2_14, which is a private joke because I got sober in 2015 and I put in the wrong date, but I just left. It's supposed to be 215.
I wondered where the 14 came from. That is
absolutely meaningless.
Only a true person that suffer. Oh my goodness, that's hilarious.
I thought I'll just leave it because it's hilarious now, and so if you're in on the joke, you're in on the joke. Facebook, Instagram, Lesley Ann Klepek. Last name is K-L-E-P-A-C. And I'm also That Lady Coach on Instagram. And if you would like to email me, if you need support, you can email thecleancrew01@gmail.com.
Oh, that's incredible. Thank you so much. Thank you for coming on and sharing your story and everything you're doing, and for the work you're doing for the hearing impaired community and recovery. That is just so incredibly needed. So thank you. I cannot thank you enough.
Thank you. I did it. The autistic kid did it. My mom's gonna be like, "Will you stop that?"